episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to do a segment that we like to call Just Gear Talk. And the Beard's going to tell you what gear we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
We've talked about doing this before, and that is taking a look at our personal pedal boards. So, we are lucky enough to be in a situation where, for the most part, we don't move our pedal boards.
Right.
Which is why... when you get in a situation where you don't have to move your pedal board,
It looks like NASA.
right, things can get out of control. It can be very huge or whatever. Maybe someday we'll get to that ridiculous command center looking thing.
We'll have to get like the IMAX format with the curved screen. And
Right,
the big
to be able to put
We'll
it
get
on
Ken
there.
Burns to come over.
It's almost embarrassing, but man, it's so nice to walk in.
Yeah, sure.
You walk in, you plug your guitar, and you go. So, but we started not too long ago with Satellite Campus where you don't have that luxury anymore, so you had to put together kind of a travel board, if you would. So what you're going to take when you're going down south to play at the other place.
Right.
So we brought that over. It's right here. Boom. Probably just popped up on the screen. And we did a quick demo of the Lovepedal HSR-3 in another episode, so you can check that out if you want to go deeper into that particular pedal. But since we had the board here, we thought, well, why not?
Right.
Why not do it? So this is your travel board, and you've used it not only for a Satellite Campus, but you did, like, let's say, a clinic kind of thing, or if you go play at, you've gone to Messiah College and played, you've gone to other places and played and taken this.
It's pretty practical for the most part. I got a small board, but I have it in a bigger Pelican case, I like to call it. But yeah, no, it's great.
Right. So, if we're doing the rundown-esque kind of thing, I would say first thing the single change is polytune.
Yes.
So we could probably skip that.
Yeah, it's a tuner.
It's a tuner.
Yeah.
So why don't you walk through the what and the why?
Yes.
Maybe.
This is terrible. But wait, what is this? A Morley?
It is a Morley Volume.
Yeah. I have like. Let me back up for a second. This this pedal board, first of all, it glows blue. My love for blue goes a long way away because this pedal board sat empty for 3 or 4 years. It's a monkey board.
So on the front, trailer trash.
No, it's monkey board. I wish it was trailer trash. I ain't got that kind of coin. But a monkey board, all acrylic, and then at the bottom, it's a Decibel 11 power supply, which is both powering the lovely blue lights on the board and all the pedals. So I just want to start there. And I was so happy when I finally put it together because it glows blue.
So you gave up a spot on your board for pedals to power the lights and
my other amp tech, Michael McInerney, put it together for me. And really, there's probably only room for one more pedal on this board anyway.
Right.
And, so the really complicated signal chain is into the tuner, into the Morley Volume wah. Now, in worship, you don't always use a wah, but we get in little jam situations at worship where maybe we'll turn the wah on a little bit. That I wanted that option, but I didn't want a second pedal on this board to save real estate. So
maybe not the wah pedal, not the volume pedal you would go with if you were using them independently, but looking for an option that would cover kind of both grounds and something small and travel.
And I did what we're doing here, or not this, but like the whole reason for this channel is I went and looked at different ones that were combination wah volume, whether it was the demo or the price point at the time. This is the one I decided to go with because I pretty much use Ernie Ball volume pedals otherwise, just because that's what I first used. And but Morley, great company, gets the job done. Mostly for my wahs, occasional swelling, put ice on it if it swells too badly, but occasional swelling, and really just a silent option. Pretty much wide open. If I'm not drawing and doing a swell, it's on. And if I'm tuning, it's off because this particular one doesn't have the tuner out. Right? So...
Meaning...
Well, it doesn't... So if you
turn the tuner on, it cuts your signal,
right. Yeah. So I don't have the option
all the way up.
Right. So, really, it's a volume pedal.
But, I mean, you do that where... On another tuner pedal, you have the tuner on all the time.
Right.
And cut.
Right, because I have the VP Junior on my other board. But a lot of times, in a church situation, you're playing, you sit down, and then you're waiting. So when I sit down, I just hit it and knock it back. Because that way, if I just, because every guitarist cannot not touch their guitar, so when the pastor's up there praying, I'm not back here going, oh shoot, because every time I just automatically just kick it off.
All right.
So then that goes into,
and then you can hit the button.
Yep.
Well, I have a
stunt double. Here's the real actor, and there's the stunt double.
Yeah. So
yeah. Then the single chain. So when I was also looking, where I want to go with this, I experienced a Mooer pedal, which we might talk about later, that I actually didn't like, but it didn't stop me from getting, because I was looking for space, right? So this Mooer Spark series, I found these pedals. So I have these three chained together. So the single chain goes there into the distortion, and then an overdrive, and then a tremolo, which then are also nicely. The only super nice cable management here is the special Mooer little U kind of cables. Sorry. So I was kind of looking for something with small real estate, and so I kind of went with that, and then that all kind of runs up to this Tone Bakery creme brulee, which I'm pretty much using as a clean boost or maybe a boost on solos. I wish I could remember, but I swear I was talking to you before we started the camera. I think I got it free with another pedal one time when I ordered a pedal. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Because this might be in the clone world.
I believe
which
so.
we did my Rockworks OD whatever. So not to get too far off the track here, but so there. So now I've learned a new phrase on some of the boards we follow. I'm apparently the 4-cable method because I love to run my my delays and my other sort of time-based or reverb effects through the loop. So it comes through here, goes back to the amp from the creme brulee, and then for the loop it goes into the Lovepedal, into the carbon copy, and back. Because again, I like the way that sounds. I don't have an Altoids tin. Sorry, kids. I do have a tobacco tin that is full of picks. I promise. It's not full of tobacco.
So, and this kind of happened. At one point, I was taking my pedal board back and forth and realized, I could leave something there. And so I kind of took the pedal board that would be my pedal board to take to... We're not gigging anymore, but that kind of...
played a blues jam to honor your friends.
Well, and I didn't even use that one. It's all kind of material. But anyway, the one that I wanted to have with me, there was a situation at the time that I was playing in a little bit. So I started looking at what old pedals do I have that I could kind of supplement and leave there permanently. Mm-hmm. And now that they've been upgraded or whatever, some of them. Yeah. But like the Tone Bakery was one that, for you, that...
Yeah, it was just sitting around.
And
I put on, but everything else, the Polytune, I had the Polytune and I had the Tone Bakery, but everything else...
And the board you had.
Yeah, but everything else I used as an excuse to buy new.
All right, so let's run through...
Yeah.
Let's hear some sounds on the 3 Spark. Because the Tremolo...
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I mean, we've had some nice tremolos down here, and that tremolo sounds great. So
yeah, so, I mean, again... just volume on pretty much the whole way. In worship, it's not exclusively clean, but I have PRS single cut hollow body that I really like, and it has split coils, so you can get different things. So clean tone, can't play when I talk. Usually my delay is always on. I think I turned it off because I started with everything off. So this would be if my clean tone. But, so let's just go down the chain, right? So you're like, oh wow, this dude has a distortion pedal on his worship board. What kind of church does he go to? Right? But every once in a while, and this past Sunday, I wasn't playing this board, but we played a song that was really heavy on the hook, and so I would have used this. Occasionally, not often. More often than not, probably the Overdrive. Do like do a lot of arpeggio picking sometimes, so I want to stand out a little bit, so I would go to overdrive. Do a lot of palm muting. Overdrive would be the probably most commonly used pedal outside of delay. So just kind of give it some oomph, you know, and you can rake a chord. And then, as Jason was saying, kind of the really magical pedal of these three is this tremolo pedal. I mean, it's just really...
Sounds nice.
Yeah, and I got all of these for a really great price. You know, did the whole Reverb eBay thing. A couple of them were brand new. I got them for significantly less, but for the money, that tremolo is awesome. Excuse me. So the other thing, which we just did a review of, it is this Lovepedal. So I played worship since I was 15. I'm a little older than 15 now. And so I got into, like, I could figure out, okay, I'm going to do a volume swell with delay and overdrive and get this really sweet swell. Well, our friend, so in worship you hear all these really just go on forever tails, you know, off into the atmosphere. And,
angel pedal.
Yeah, their angel pedal. So, honestly, I didn't know what it was. And so our friend Esty, who's been on the show a couple times, I think, at this point, he came and played with us at church one time, and he hit this swell, and I'm just like, I know we don't have any soundproofing in this room, but really, seriously? So that's when I really figured out what Shimmer was. I'm not saying I figured it out, because it's just higher octaves of the same thing. So I'm like, well, I need a Shimmer, because sometimes I'm generally the lead singer, so I'm not always the guitarist guy, but every once in a while, somebody else is singing, I could do a little treatment, a little swell, or whatever, and so I wanted to get Shimmer. So on my other board, I have a different pedal, but I found this Lovepedal that we just reviewed, and I like it 10 times more even than I did before. So this is the Shimmer setting, and you can play whole chords, especially when you turn the volume up. And through the magic of my foot doubler again, I'll hit some swells here. Here comes the foot double, because I can't dislocate my joint there, but...
Not very good double.
And if you don't turn it off, it just goes on forever. Kind of simple, I think.
The only thing you didn't hit was the...
Oh, yeah. So the Tone Bakery, if I'm... sometimes with clean... Depending on what we're doing, sometimes I feel like I have to have a little boost on there. So let me play it. Sometimes, because tremolo sometimes can take your signal a little bit. This one not so much, but a lot of times if I'm using the tremolo, I don't want it to get lost. I might turn the Tone Bakery on. And then when we play out, we're going to play out together here in a minute. I would sometimes use it to boost either one of these if I was taking a lead. So that's really it. I mean, it works for me. It wasn't a super expensive board. Probably the most expensive pedal on here is the Carbon Copy Deluxe. Oh, one more thing. I don't have tap tempo on everything, right? So on my other board, I have 2 delays, and I leave one on a long setting all the time. That's kind of my reverb. But I do like to have a tap tempo on the board, just in case we're playing something that I'm starting and I'm locking in or whatever. So I like to have both. But this one I only have one. But I wanted something with tap tempo and subdivisions because I have the regular carbon copy, which I really like. But I needed something with a little more features here. So actually, truth be told, my brother was kind enough to purchase that for me for Christmas one year as I was building this board. So I have tap tempo, subdivision, modulation I don't use all the time, but anyway.
So if you go out and Google, if you're not into the worship kind of music thing, and you'd go Google worship boards, oh my gosh, so many of those are so over the top, right? I mean, they have like 4 Strymon pedals on it or 2 H9 pedals on it from Eventide, and like, I mean, they're really... So this is really stripped down,
right?
But gives you the sounds you need.
Yeah, I'm not the atypical worship player. I like those guys. I had friends with some of those guys. I didn't cut my teeth that way. I cut my teeth on worship, but not the kind of worship that is played now. As far as like the guitars, right. I grew up on banging on guitars and maybe some of that arpeggio picking. Not a lot of the ethereal. I mean, if you had that back in the '80s when I was playing, it was keyboards.
Right.
So. Yeah, those guys put some great pedals together. I just did
I mean they're amazing.
I just did a session at like a seminar, clinic, whatever you want to call it, with some guys from a local church, and the 4 different boards, 5 different boards, very different. Some of them have really nice boutique pedals on there. Some have some JHS and other things. I kind of tried to keep this somewhat economy. It works.
Sounds good.
I like it.
So. If anybody was interested, we could get into the one that I'm using, but we couldn't do it here.
No.
We'd have to go on location. And you have another one over there too that has kind of the same feeling but different pedals.
Kind of the same components, I guess. I'm like one trick pony, kind of, sort of. It has more real estate. I should put more.
Well, and actually, even like the monstrosity I'm talking about, when you strip it down.
Right.
It's very close. Very similar.
The way I described it, real quick, to the guys I was doing the session with on Sunday was, I want a volume pedal, sometimes just for silent tuning or for swells. I want an overdrive, I want a delay, and I want something that warbles. Whether it be a tremolo or a vibrato or, a Leslie pedal, like this guy over here. Like, anything, some warble stuff, because you're not often in with a keyboard player sometimes, or you're playing second guitar, and how are you going to differentiate yourself from the other guy? So those are sort of the basic components that I would want on my board, and this board covers it with a boost added and an overdrive.
You have your tremolo for modulation,
right?
And so, I mean, that's the limiting factor. Is I have a tremolo for modulation instead of I have the MD500 or the Strymon, whatever it's called, that does all the modulation stuff. Where you have a million different. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I think having we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
And so I think we've gone there.
I think
for today.
Yeah, sure.
I think we've
this
gone
works
there
for me.
So more stuff to come. Mm-hmm. If you've been around this long, please like the video. Certainly subscribe. A lot more people subscribing a lot faster lately, and it's really helping us be able to do some new cool stuff in the future.
Yep.
Believe it or not, that helps out. So if you don't mind subscribing, please do that. Mm-hmm. Leave a comment. What's he missing? Are you tired of blue? I mean, whatever. Leave a comment for Patrick and the roast his board.
Yeah.
In the comments. And with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you that no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.